Anyway, I've decided to make a workbench, and I have been lucky enough to have discovered these, what appears to be desktops. Pretty big, heavy, weighty things. And I've decided I want to use this here as the work surface. It's plenty big enough for what I want. You know, I don't want a huge bench or anything, but that'll be fine. And it's a nice sturdy piece of wood. And I also found this here. When I say I found it, basically it was left out overnight by somebody at the back of their house in a lane. And generally speaking, if anything gets left out in that lane, or in any of the lanes where I live, and it's half decent, it won't last for very long. Somebody will come along, pick it up and take it home. People leave sofas, you know, settees, chairs, whatever outside of their houses, outside of their flats. So it was left, and people come along and grab what they want, basically, and kind of recycle it, which is quite good. So I don't think I'm stealing anybody's wood, at least I hope not. I'm 99.999% sure that they wouldn't have left it out overnight had they intended to keep it or use it for something. They would have most certainly have kept it on their property. Anyway, this is what I'm going to use. This here is going to be the top of the table, of the workbench. Okay. And with regards to the legs and the actual structure itself, I'm not going to go out and buy any wood. I'm going to do it completely on the cheap. It's hopefully going to cost me absolutely nothing, and I shall make everything out of these pieces of wood. I'll use this here for the legs. I'll have to cut it lengthways and double them up and screw them together or bolt them together and whatever. So it's going to be quite a lot of sawing, hand sawing. I've got no power tools, so hopefully I shall lose a bit of weight, put on a bit of muscle, and have a workbench at the end of it. Anyway, that's what I plan to do. Cheers. Okay, I reckon the height of it is going to have to be somewhere around 100 centimeters, or that's pretty close to 39 inches, 38, 39 inches. Let's call it 100 centimeters. I think that will be about the right height. That will be fine. This bit here is going to be the bottom of the legs, the bit that's going to come into contact with the floor, and therefore I think rather than having this kind of slightly curved edge, I should cut down through just to create a nice flat edge so nothing wobbles around when it's on the floor. Okay, what I'm basically doing here is, well, I've cut the bottom of the legs, or it could be the top, it doesn't really matter which way around it goes. And this is either, again, the top or the bottom. And I've decided a length of 38 inches, which is just under 100 centimeters, which looks about right to me. I'm sure it will feel about right. So that's it, basically cutting the length of the legs. And next I'm going to cut vertically down quite a few, double them up, and I'll show you what I'm going to do in a minute. Okay, cheers. Well, there we go. So far I've cut these two here. Now they are slightly bowed, which is, as you can see, put them next to each other, there's a gap. No problem, I'm going to screw these together very, very tight anyway. The tops are a little bit skew with. I seem to naturally cut at an angle, which I should try to eradicate if I can, but there's no problem. Once I've screwed these together, I can just saw straight down through here and make a nice 90-degree angle. Same goes to the bottom as well. So yeah, it's just a case of cutting 8 of these and then deciding whether I want to, what I want to do then after that. But I'll get to that bit when I get to it, won't I? Alright, cheers. That's 4 pieces, or 2 legs. Good stuff. Getting there slowly. I can get the other 4 pieces from this piece of wood. Okay, well, after much blood, sweat and tears, I've got 6 over here. And another one here. What I was thinking of doing, possibly, is screwing these 2 together, which would create a really strong leg. And then screwing another piece, say here. So that's going to be really strong if I can get that all together. It would be great if I could bolt it together, but I haven't got any bolts here. I might have to go and get some. And in this part here, going across to the other leg, and the same kind of at the bottom. Maybe not quite as, not right down to the bottom, but perhaps do that here, and then have another piece of wood kind of here. Leave a gap, join it all up. But I don't know yet, don't know what to do. I have to assess the situation. Okay, cheers. Okay, well, I've now screwed these pieces together, and on this end here, I've kind of done as best I can anyway to level it off. That'll be the bottom, so it'll be that way up, like so. I don't know. We'll see. This will either work or it'll fall to pieces. Okay, well, after a hell of a lot of cutting these down to size, I basically cut off all the ends in order to get something a little bit more flat across here. It's a learning process. I've worked out how we do that now, and it's obvious how you get a nice 90-degree angle there when you actually stop and think about it for 2 minutes. Which is something I should do a lot more of, is stopping and thinking rather than just going for it and just, you know, cutting away. So yeah, I think they're okay. I mean, they look very amateurish, don't they, for goodness sakes, but you know, I think they're going to be strong enough to hold up some sort of a tabletop, either that or that. When everything else is put along here and it's all kind of screwed and bolted together, it's coming together anyway. That's all I can say, and it doesn't look pretty, but I think it will work. So I'm fairly optimistic. Okay, so far so good. Well, I've finally managed to get those metal things off of there, and now I'm going to cut some lengths of wood off of this door. There's been a bit of I couldn't decide whether to have this as the work surface or that, but that is much heavier, so I think I'm going to go with that. And it's big enough, plenty big enough for me, I think. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. Okay, well, at this stage now, I'm going to attach another piece of wood here, leave a gap for the piece to go across, and attach another piece of wood, leave a gap, and then a piece at the bottom about this big, I guess.